At my house.
Okay. So please stand. We welcome those on Facebook Live. We welcome you to the Empowerment Church, where we're equipping leaders with kingdom principles to impact the 8 fields. We are going to do our kingdom declarations, which we do every Sunday. So are we ready?
Yes.
We're ready.
Yes.
I am a king with the power to create.
I am a king with the power to create.
I am a king and I am full of ideas.
I am a king and I am full of ideas.
I am a king and I'm ready to shine.
I am a king and I am ready to shine.
That last one like you mean it.
I am a king and I am ready to shine.
Amen. You guys may be seated. Today we want to talk about the concept of taking inventory. Taking inventory. And I thought about just how seasons change and how many of us like to shop. You like to shop. What happens, what does a store do at the end of every season?
Inventory.
Clear.
They take inventory. Why do they take inventory, Lady Vanessa?
Because they want to know how much they sold and how much they still have on hand.
And when they find out how much they sold and how much they have on hand, then what do?
They put the rest of it on clearance and mark it down so they can sell it.
So they take it, mark it down on clearance so they can sell it. Why do they want to get rid of that stuff?
So they can get the new stuff in.
So they can get the new stuff in and make some more profits.
Yeah. Right.
So stores have the concept of taking inventory. And it's during those seasonal changes when the stores do that. They want to know, what do we have on hand? We, as kingdom ambassadors, need to learn how to take our own personal inventory, especially when we're going into different seasons. And a season can be marked by a time of the year. Right now we're going from 2018 into 2019. That's a season. But a season doesn't necessarily have to start at the beginning of a year. Sometimes you go through a season where I'm done doing this and I'm done doing to do that. And that could be, July 15th. It could be any time. But you have to know when it's time to take inventory. And so today we're all going to take inventory together as we are all heading into 2019. And so I'm going to ask you, what do you have in your hand? As we take inventory, the question is going to be, what do you have in your hand? And so before we talk about what you have in your hand, I want to give you some examples so you can understand what we're talking about. Our first example is going to be Moses and his brother Aaron. In the book of Exodus, when Moses was getting ready to lead the children out of Israel, and God was talking to him about what he wanted him to do. And I want you guys to go back and read these stories. But God asked Moses a couple of times, and Moses said, well, God, how am I going to do this? And he says, what do you have in your hand? And Moses had his rod, his staff. And God used that rod and staff in Moses' hands for a couple of different things during that transition. He used it when he was crossing the Red Sea, when he got to the Red Sea, and Moses, oh my God, what are we going to do? And he wanted God to do something, and God was like, what do you have in your hand? He had already given Moses everything he needed. When Moses and Aaron went to the Pharaoh to say, let my people go, it was Aaron's rod that was used, and when they were doing that whole battle thing and the snakes, and Aaron threw down his rod turned into a snake and ate up the little snakes. It was Aaron's rod. He had already had that rod with him. It wasn't a new rod. It was just something he just already had with him. And so that was one thing that they had to use, what was already given to them. They didn't go out, or they said, don't come out looking for anything else. You already have what you need. You just need to take inventory and figure it out. Our next example. David, when it came time for him to fight Goliath, the big giant, they were mocking the children of Israel, and everybody was scared. And here comes this little shepherd boy, who is this, uncircumcised person talking about us like that? And so David volunteered to take on the giant. And people looking at David like he crazy, like, what are you going to do? And David said, you know what? I done fought bears I've been protecting these sheep. I can do this because I know what I have in me. But when it came time for David to go to the Goliath, they tried to get David all this armor and this big shield. And David tried it on for a little bit. He was like, no, I don't need all that. I already have my slingshot. I've been using this. It's been my personal assistant. I don't need anything else. I already have it. And he took what he already had, found 5 little stones that were already created, and he used what he had to defeat that giant. I'm going to submit another example to you. In the book of 1 Kings with the prophet Elijah, there was a famine in the land. And God said, I am going to send you to a widow in Zarephath, and I have appointed her to feed you. And so Elijah was like, okay, we'll go. And this is in the book of Kings 17, verses 11 through 16. And so he went to this widow. Now, if God tells you I've appointed somebody to feed you, you're thinking, okay, they must have everything they need to feed me. But when he sees this widow, and she's gathering sticks, and he was like, hey, I need you to feed me. And she was looking at him like, boy, I'm getting these sticks because I don't have anything other than a bowl of flour and a jar of oil. And I'm getting ready to take these little sticks, make me and my son a cake, and then we just gonna die. That was her attitude. But Elijah was like, no. What do you have in your hand? He says, you go, take what you have, and you make me a cake and bring it to me. And you won't have to worry about it. Just use what you already have. Don't worry about trying to get anything else. Use what you already have. And she did that. She went, put the flour and the oil together, made him a cake, and guess what? The oil didn't run out until God provided more food. Why? Because she had enough faith to say, I'm going to use what I already have to do what God has appointed me to do. I got one more example, just in case you don't believe me. There's another widow in the book of 2 Kings, chapter 4, verses 1 through 7. And this is with the prophet Elisha. Now, what happened with this lady here, her husband, he was a son, he was in the sons of the prophets. He died. He left a lot of debt when he died. And so she went to the prophet. She cried out unto Elijah and said, hey, look, I'm in debt. The debtors are trying to come and take my son if I don't pay them. And I need you to help me. And she was maybe hoping Elijah was going to give her something. I'm not quite sure what she expected Elijah to do. But you know what Elijah asked her? What do you have in your house? He said, I don't have anything to give you, but what do you already have in your house? And she says, you know what? I just have 1 jar of oil. 1 jar of oil. So he said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go borrow some other vessels. Now, she did go borrow the vessels, but the resource was already inside of her. She just needed the vessels to hold the overflow, to hold the abundance that God was going to bring out of what she already had. And so I need you to understand as we go forward, and you need to ask yourself, what do I already have in my hand? I told Dr. Banks a couple of weeks ago, I took a picture of all the different messages from January up until this month, and I said, you know what, if you never preached another thing, we have enough to go on to do what we're supposed to do with God. And so even when it comes to, always wanting new information, I need something new, we need something new. You have enough to do what you already are supposed to do. Mm-hmm. What do you have in your hand? What do you have in your hand? So what I want you to do is, I want you to start, we're going to do a little exercise where I want you to take your own personal inventory. What does your personal inventory look like? This is your personal storage, your cash. And the definition for cash, usually we think about it in computer terms where it's, it's where there's some information is stored for quick use. But cash is just a storage place. Sometimes it's a hiding place. but it's a place where you store provisions. It's a place where you store things. And each of us have our own personal cash. Things that we have stored inside of us, things that God has provided us with, ideals, things that we have done in life. This is our personal cash, our inventory. And so this is what I want you to begin to think about. And I'm giving you a few minutes each time. The first thing that you're going to find in your cash is your certifications and your educational degrees. And you're going to do more of this at home because you're going to need, these things are going to come to you. These are things that you have been trained to do, even if the certification is outdated, even if you don't even want to do that anymore. You know, I've been certified in underwater basket weaving, but I don't like that now. Doesn't matter. Write it down. Anything that you have been certified to do, any kind of degree that you have, any training that you have, anything that you have accomplished, that any kind of letters in front of your name, behind your name, and that will cause someone to have to pay you extra money. That's part of your personal inventory. This is what you have in your hand. The next thing that goes into your storage, cash, your inventory, are professional skills. These are things where you may not have a degree in it, but you have learned how to do it. You've been trained to do it. Think about all the jobs that you had, the job that you hold now. What are the skills required to do that? I haven't been specifically trained in Microsoft, but I'm very knowledgeable on how to use Microsoft Word. I haven't been formally trained in how to do PowerPoints, but I have the professional skills to do PowerPoints. And so these are things that you may not have a degree for, things that you may not have a certificate for, but you know them well enough that you can either A, teach somebody, or maybe make some profit off of what it is. Think about, what the things that you do in your job, management skills, organizational skills, whatever that is. Think about that. Those types of things go into your personal storage. The next thing is life experiences. Those things can become profitable. What I mean by life experiences, blended families, if you dealt with the sickness, if you dealt with, let's say, a special needs child, if you lost a parent, you lost a child, how to take care of an aging parent, how to take care of a parent with Alzheimer's, how to deal with second marriages, how to deal with divorce, domestic violence. Sometimes our life experiences are not the perky, happy things, but it's part of our journey, it's part of our inventory, the things that we have been through. That goes into our personal inventory. So sometimes our life experiences are not the happy things, but it's the things that we go through that we pick up knowledge and we pick up information that other people might not otherwise know, but at one point they might need that information. And then the last thing that goes into your personal cash, your passions, your hobbies. What do you just like to do? What are you passionate about? I used to like making jewelry. I don't get back as much as I like to, but for me, anything creative. I just love creating things. So that is something that will go into my personal inventory, jewelry making. Anything, what are your passions? What are your hobbies? These are things that will go into your personal inventory. So you guys got that on the worksheet? If you're using the worksheet, I tell you to pull it in the cloud so that it's protected. Because everything now, you got to have a backup. And those of us who have had computers messed up, we thank God for the cloud. We thank God for the cloud. Because if your stuff is in the cloud, you can access it from anywhere. I learned that just a few weeks ago. My computer, I dropped it and it got messed up. But my stuff was in the cloud. So I'm like, I can still access my stuff. So when you put your stuff in the cloud, no matter where you are, you have access to it. So you guys got all that down?
Yes.
Hope you got a little bit of something in every category for right now. When you get home, hopefully you'll meditate on this some more and really begin to make a long list. Those of us who have lived longer and have done more things, we're going to have some long lists. But I want to get this straight. before we go any further, I want to get a few things straight. I don't think any of you here might have an issue with it, but for those on Facebook, if you're watching us, I want to get a few things straight before we go any further for this message. A lot of times we look at ministry and we want to keep it separate from the marketplace. And we think that, we're talking about, it's the prosperity gospel. They talking about money. This is not the prosperity gospel. This is the productivity gospel. This is not name it and claim it. This is plan it and do it. This is write it and do it. This is not, I'm just waiting for God to do this for me. God is saying, nah, you have an inventory. You need to do it. So this is what this is for. This is for those who aren't about glorifying poverty and then you demonize prosperity. We do that. So if you enjoy the struggle message, this is not for you. You're welcome to tune off. Go finish the rest of your day. If you like the struggle message, you may leave. I know you got to leave to go to work, so I'm not going to be offended. I'm leaving.
We know where you at.
So the things that I am going to share with you is not for those who like the struggle message. And I'm not saying that life is always going to be great. But what I am saying is that God has gifted us. God has anointed us. God has given us gifts that we don't have to struggle. Now, I know we do struggle, and sometimes it's because of our own choices or because we are not using our inventory. And so what I'm going to share for you today is an anti-struggle message. So if you enjoy the struggle, you are not going to like what I'm getting ready to share. But a lot of times we want to take them, we want to say this is ministry, and we want to keep the marketplace separate. But God said, I made you kings in the marketplace, and I made you priests in my house. He didn't say I've made you kings or priests. He said, and. That means the two can coexist. They can go together. And I want to give you some examples of how do we combine ministry and the marketplace? How do we combine ministry and making $1 or two? It's not a sin, and we need to quit thinking that, you can't talk about making money in churches only, we can only talk about, salvation, and those things are great, but they're not mutually exclusive. So here is an example of how it works. We have the It Starts With Me book. It started where? In ministry.
Yes, it did.
But it's now where? In the marketplace.
That's right. Yes, it is.
Is that sin?
No.
Is that somehow turning our backs on the gospel of salvation?
No.
Absolutely not.
Strategy.
So that's one example. Think about preachers who write books about ministry, about godly things. Where do they put them? In the marketplace. You think about people who sing songs. They put them on a CD. It's ministry. Where does it go? To the marketplace. So why is it we want to get so super spiritual when it comes to monetary things that, it's prosperity gospel, it's prosperity. God wants us to be prosperous.
Yes, he does.
He tells us that many times in his word, that that's what he desires for us. So why do we fight that? Why do you think people fight that? Any ideas? Let's talk about that. Why do people fight that so much, or love the struggle gospel?
They think it's a sign of humility.
Okay, a sign of humility. Anybody else?
It's taught.
Why do you think people have such angst about mixing that?
She said it's
I
chalk.
just said it's taught.
Yeah.
That's what we've been taught.
Okay, that's what we've been taught. Well, I'm ready to unteach it. Right here now, because I want to get it straight.
If you think about it, we've been given this mindset of a shepherd and sheep. And the sheep they're not supposed to be on the same level as the shepherd.
Look at there.
Okay.
So we've been given that, but she says talk, we've been put in that mindset that we can't be what the shepherd is. So I'm not supposed to have a nice house like the pastor because I'm a sheep.
You know, that's an interesting concept, but what do those shepherds do with the sheep? They don't just take care of them till they die. Why?
They shear
Is the
them.
shepherd not them taking care of the sheep?
They are
So
sheared.
make some money.
On the back stuff.
Dr. Sharon.
A lot of times when we have it as a ministry and we're giving assistance to people, they expect us to do that. They don't think that there could ever be any monetary value with it, that you're supposed to do this because it's a ministry.
Okay. Does somebody else have their hand up here?
Oh, you asked what happens to sheep. They either get sheared, milked, or served for dinner.
So they benefit.
And those things aren't given away for free.
That's right.
Lady Angela?
And as it was said earlier, the things that are taught in church, those just few things that we don't go beyond teaching about faith, salvation, sin, repentance. It doesn't go beyond that. It's just clustered in those things, and that's what the average church teaches. They don't teach kingdom living and the things that we're learning here. So a lot of it is lack of knowledge, and where God says lack of knowledge, people will perish. And although we're going to church every Sunday, you only learn about those few things. Pastors are not going beyond that.
Okay.
Over and over.
Good. So I just want to kind of get that straight before we go any further. But understand that ministry and the marketplace, they can come together. If we look at Deuteronomy 8:18, and God tells the children of Israel after that, once you've been delivered, once you have all these great and wonderful things, he says, don't forget that it is I who gives you the power to create wealth. So God never says that creating wealth is bad. He says it's just when you do, don't forget where the source comes from.
Right.
That was
That's
the
right.
only thing. He didn't say, I want you to be poor. I want you to struggle. He says, I want you to remember when you have all these good things that I give you the power to do what? Some verses say get wealth. Some verses say to create wealth. So understand that the power to create wealth is already in your inventory, and it's been designed and ordained by God. God is not turning his nose up at it. He says, this is what I want you to do.
Right.
Because I have given you the power to do it. There's nothing worse than giving somebody the access to something, giving them the ability to do something, they don't use that. How do you feel when that happens to you, when you give somebody something and then they choose to struggle with it? It's like, do you know I've given you this. God says you don't have to struggle. I've given you the power not to beg for wealth, not to keep coming back asking me to send checks in the mail, the anoint your mailbox and all this. He said, I didn't tell you to do that. I have given you the power to do what? Create it.
Hey!
I have given you the power to create it. He says that in one of the verses, I want to say it's in Philippians, Ephesians, that he's able to do what? Abundantly above that you ask or think according to what?
The power.
The power that works where?
In us.
In us. So what does that tell you? God is all about taking what he's already given us. And he's about us taking what he's already given us. He says, use what you've already been given.
Right.
Use what you've already been given. So let me talk about some examples here. You have the It Starts With Me book. It's ministry, correct?
Yes, sir.
But how can we individually or corporately take our ministry of our book and put it into the marketplace? One thing is, it's already on Amazon. It's already on Kindle. Those of you who have been buying the book at wholesale and you're selling them, hopefully, for a little bit of profit. Oh, shame on you for doing that. But there are other ways that we can, and see, here's the thing. For those of you who actually contributed to the book, you have the access to take any idea that you would have and say, hey, I think I want to take It Starts With Me and put it on some coffee cups and sell those coffee cups. Go for it. Lady Laura, can you send me the JPEG? I sure will. And I won't charge you a thing because I want you to be prosperous. And I'm not gonna come looking for a dime. I do hope you give back to the ministry from whence it came.
Hallelujah.
I can't make you, but you have the right to do that. One thing that I've done with the It Starts With Me, sorry, made 2 decks of playing cards. They have the different reflections on the cards, and people can use them either like daily bread type things. And I created some kind of like game rules, like you play it like Uno. Now this is not really for your average person. If you know people who are like life coaches or personal coaches, where they can use these in their business. Guess what? You can purchase these at wholesale and say, you know, hey, I know Dr. So-and-so, he's a life coach. This would be great in his business for when he's coaching small groups or doing personal coaching. Maybe I'll ask him if he would like to buy the It Starts With Me leadership cards. And you set your price that's above the price that you paid for them. It's ministry, but it's marketplace. You see how that works?
Yeah.
Shame on us for thinking like that, am I right? And there are so many other things that if you put your mind to it, you can be innovative with what we already have. We created this book in September of 2016. Was it this year, last year? I think it was 2016, wasn't it?
2017.
Last year.
17? It was last year. Yeah, last year.
Last year.
So we've had this book in our inventory for well over a year. What have you done with it? You've had the power to do more than just anything with it. I want you guys to start being creative, be innovative, and start coming up with things we can do corporately or even personally. And we're going to get to that. But I just want to kind of put that out there. So please understand, you got to think. How can you be innovative? How can you be creative? How can you create wealth with what's already inside of you? You don't have to have one more lesson, get one more degree, get one more certification, get one more anything until you take inventory and see, what am I doing with what I already have? What else different can I do with what I already have? So before we go any further, I just kind of wanted to get that straight, because what I want to share with you, I want you to understand that I'm bringing my marketplace talents into the ministry. Just like we can take our ministry talents and put them into the marketplace, I'm getting ready to bring my marketplace stuff that I could charge someone for by the hour to sit them down and show them what I'm getting ready to show you. But right now, my marketplace gift, my marketplace inventory, I'm submitting it to the ministry. And I'm going to do it out of, this is what I'm called to do. So you see how the marketplace and the ministry and the ministry and the marketplace, they don't have to be separate.
That's right.
That they can come together as one with wisdom, never forgetting where it comes from. That's God's requirement. Just do not forget who it is that has given you the power to get those certifications, to get those degrees, to get those skills, those life experiences. You didn't create that, but you have the creative power to use what God has given you for your benefit and for the benefit of others. It's totally okay. So now once you get this straight, that I have all of this inventory, what you now need to do is understand the principle of access. The principle of access. Once you take your inventory, then you have to decide, what am I going to give people access to? Because I have so much inside of me, I have to kind of prioritize, what am I going to allow you to have access to today? You can't let everybody have everything all at once. It would overwhelm them and it would tire you out. So once you begin to take your inventory and look at all the things you have, then you have to decide, okay, what one thing am I going to work on an access plan? You need to understand what I mean by access, to understand that each level of access requires a different investment of time, energy, and finances. time, energy, and finances. When you think about storage facilities, some people only have access to a little bit of space because they only have a little bit of stuff. Some people have access to a big old space where they got boats and cars that they're storing. And so each level of access is going to be a different requirement from not only you, but the people who you are giving access to. So this is how the principle of access works. Let's take an example from Jesus. Jesus understood the principle of the levels of access. Jesus had what? The multitudes. Those were the people that just came around whenever they felt like coming around. They weren't really trying to invest any time. They was just, trying to see what was going on. Some of them, did some things with the word maybe. But it was just the multitudes. Then Jesus had the 70. These were some versions say the 72. These were a smaller group that Jesus did pour into. He did equip them and send them out. So they had a different level of commitment. They showed a different level of commitment, and Jesus gave them a different level of equipping. Then he had the 12. These were the ones who, once again, a different level of commitment from those 12. They had to go to more places, a different level of financial investment. Some of them left their jobs. Some of them had to help supply for Jesus' needs. And Jesus gave more of himself to those who were more committed to getting more. And then you had that inner circle, those three. Was it James, Peter, and John?
That's right.
Those three went with Jesus to places others didn't get to go. They were with him at the Transfiguration. They were with him in the Garden of Gethsemane. Because, see, that level of access required a different level of commitment. It required a different level of pouring out from Jesus. And so, once again, Jesus understood the principle of access, of levels of access. So how does that look in your life with your inventory? And this is what we're really going to work on today. Is that if you imagine yourself as a tree, you are a tree. And all of those apples on the tree is your fruit that's inside of you. Okay? But you are going to take, when you get home, one thing from your inventory, and you are going to begin to create levels of access. Now, in the business sense, this is what it looks like. And some of you may have heard these terms. That the first level of access is the free fall fruit. This is the stuff that you do just because you want to get people into your yard. You ever, for those of us who grew up in neighborhoods with streets and the neighbors had apple trees or pear trees, and you didn't want to go climb at Mr. Jones' tree, but it was some apples and stuff on the ground, so what would you do? You go into the yard and you get them. With us, we need to have some free fall stuff, some things that we do just for free to get people into our yard. Okay, some things that we would do for free. So, for example, it starts with me. What I have done, and I'm still working on this. I've created a series of memes using some of the different words from the book, and I put pictures with them. And we're going to start posting maybe one a week on our website. And it's just a word with a picture, and it says, taken from It Starts With Me, available on Amazon. Those are going to be free for people who just, might need an encouragement. They don't have to pay anything for it. It's just free fall stuff to get them interested enough to do what? Click on the link to go purchase our book. Okay?
That's right.
The next level is the low-hanging fruit. This is the stuff that's still not that expensive. So for us, it might be the Kindle book. Our Kindle book is like $1.99. That's pretty low. That you can reach it. It's not free, but you can pay $1.99. So that's kind of an example of a low-hanging fruit when we're dealing with It Starts With Me. mid-hanging fruit. This is the stuff that's, once again, it's priced a little bit more, took another level of commitment. So an example for that might be the actual book itself, which I think is like $10 on Amazon. So you have the free stuff that they can just go to our website, look at the different memes, and get some of it. I ain't put all of them on there, just a few of them, to let them know that it's some good stuff in this book. And if you want all of it, you need to either buy the Kindle if you're gonna reach low, but if you want like a journal where you can write in it, spend a little bit more, and you can get the book. But then we have our high-hanging fruit. This is the stuff that's gonna be top dollar. And not everybody's gonna wanna pay this. And that's why I said, like with these cards, these are not for the average folks. These are for people who know that they can actually gain income from using this. Life coaches, leadership training. And so this is gonna be at a price point that, no, you're gonna have to invest a little bit more. I say that these are just a few examples. So now what I want to do is help you to, last week we talked about the kingdom integration system. Did you want me to go back? I'm sorry. So once again, these are just the different levels of access. So when you begin to look at this one thing that you are going to do, start thinking about, well, what can I do? Now some people say, wait, I don't like to give my stuff away for free. People like John Maxwell makes millions of dollars, will give his stuff away for free. Who are you to say, well, I'm not going to give my stuff away for free? People aren't going to buy stuff these days unless they can try it a little bit. When you go to the Christmas craft fair at the trade center, people selling food products, you want to taste what you're getting. And so they put that into their budget. This is the free stuff I'm going to give away. Sam's Club does that. We're going to do these testings. This is the free stuff that we are going to give away. Put that into your budget. But you're going to have to think of just some low-level stuff that really isn't going to cost you a lot. And in the days of technology, you can do so much that doesn't cost you a thing to get the word out about whatever program you have, whatever service you have, whatever ministry you have, whatever product you have. You have to be innovative on that lower level and just get people to come in your yard to taste your fruit before they decide to reach higher, get a ladder to get the rest of it. And then when we talk about the kingdom integration system that Dr. Banks was it last week, the week before last, talking about the kingdom integration system, how we're going to use that in this whole thing about taking inventory. This is the KI equals P times KC times T. Position, P equals position.
That's right.
For this, we're going to take the position that we have the power to create wealth. That's going to be our position as we work through these inventories, as we work through creating levels. The position we take, the kingdom position is, I have been given the power from God to create the wealth that I need to supply all my needs.
That's right.
Okay, God says He will supply all my needs. He said, I've supplied all your needs by giving you the power to create the wealth to supply your needs. He's given us everything that we need. Understand? The KC stands for Kingdom Concepts. I tell you, if you go back and look at all the video trainings from this year, these are only a few. Kingdom intelligence, kingdom systems, your entourage, being stretched. There are, like I have a whole list. I have like a table of contents that I have in my notes that I can look back and see which date what was taught and say, I was looking at that the other week. I'm like, man, we have so many things, a concept that we could apply to different things. And so sometimes different concepts might apply. You're not going to say, well, you got to use all of it at one time. That will fry your brain. But figure it out. If you want the notes from some of those messages, go to the school, grab the notes. I did the best I could to type them. And then the tactics, the T is tactics. The tactics we're going to use today is take inventory, determine your access, create the levels, and then implement a PAM. These are the tactics for today. Your tactics might look different in anything that you do. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take the It Starts With Me book, okay? I'm gonna have somebody man that board and we're gonna draw a tree. Lady Sylvia is gone, she was gonna be our best tree drawer. Corey's gone, she was my next best tree drawer. So I don't know, anybody can draw a tree. Somebody, Bridget, can you draw a tree?
I draw a tree.
God says we have everything we need in this ministry. I know I got somebody that can draw a tree. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take an idea inventory for It Starts With Me, okay? We are going to run this idea through the KI system, and we're gonna bring out products that will they're gonna be productive, provision, and purpose. They are gonna supply those needs. So we are going to put our heads together, and we're gonna think in terms of levels and fruits. So now, I want you to, at the bottom of the tree, this is our low-hanging fruit for the It Starts With Me book. So now, what are some free things? We already have the social graphic images. Those are free things. What else could we do for free to get people interested in the It Starts With Me book?
I have two that I'm doing. One is those little short videos that I do, like a drive time.
Mm-hmm.
And another one is doing 30-minute lunch and learns for companies.
Okay.
So those are.
So that's on the free level. These lunch and learns are gonna be totally free.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Anybody else got any low fruit things that we can do for free, just to let people know this book is out there?
Can you get us a flyer or something that we could put out that would have the website where they could get like the snippet or whatever, that when
Okay.
we're at these public places or just speaking, that we could hand it out to people?
Okay, and we ain't shoot nothing down. This is like brainstormer.
Okay.
But make it
The
short.
flyers.
Flyer.
Yeah, it's a flyer that would have that general information where you said it could be something free that they could, if they just logged on to it, that
Okay.
would give them the website and
Chief,
stuff.
you got a red or blue?
Okay, Lady Angela.
Now, read all that.
Okay.
Infomercials that on chaos, you know how things just run across chaos, I mean, kiosks, just little infomercials,
Say that again.
infomercials.
Infomercials. Okay. Cool. And once again, like, you know, if we had like a whole session with an hour, we could probably kick out a lot of things. So now let's talk about our low-hanging fruit. So we already have the Kindle, which is $1.99. So go ahead and somewhere on that, where the tree starts, where the fruit actually starts.
That's okay, Chief, you can't see it.
Oh, you can't see it?
The orange, that's okay, yeah, the black is probably
And you may want to bring the bushes down a little bit. So this is the mid-hanging fruit.
Oh, the mid, okay. I got it. It's amazing, everybody want to tell you how to
You're doing good, Wayne. Let's get up and
So this is, once again, low cost, low commitment type stuff. So let's say the mid-level fruit, the book is 10. So for the high level, go ahead and make a thing for the high level, and we're gonna put the book there. I'm sorry. No, we got the low-hanging, mid-level.
We got one more.
Let me
Mid
go back.
level.
That right there should have been free fall.
Oh, that right, yeah, free fall,
Come
then
on, man.
low hanging.
Yeah.
That was free fall. This free fall, man.
Free fall. Yeah, the bottom is free fall. There we go.
There you go, right there.
You're doing great, Wayne. You're doing great, Ambassador.
Okay.
One.
And the low, then we got the low hanging, that's the stuff on the bottom of the bush.
Okay, then you got your mid. Yep.
Then we got the mid. There we go.
Support.
And that's the very top.
I'm 100%.
So now, let's talk about the free fall, of course, that's free.
That's right.
The mid-level, that's where we put the book, and the book is like $10.
Mid.
Yeah, the low level.
And the low level is the
Kindle.
Kindle.
It's Kindle.
Yeah.
And the Kindle was $1.99. The mid-level is the book. That's $10.99.
That's right.
And then the high level, once again, it might be the cards. So let's say the cards are $30 a pop.
Really?
It could be. Let's just say.
Hey,
I know how much it costs to print, and you're gonna have to price them at least $25 to make some money.
Yeah, but we got time for you to do that.
it ain't gonna be 30.
This is what people buying from us.
You're here.
You're at the low
So
level.
now, let's look at this. And this is when you're creating your levels, this is how you have to think. When you're creating your levels, what's your wealth point? What's your creative wealth point when you're creating your levels?
Now, the high level could be a, course.
Yeah,
or
it's workshops, training
That's
sessions.
Training.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you
Or
go.
Workshop.
consulting.
Right, for consulting purposes.
So something that's gonna
It's our
cost
material.
$30 and up.
Oh,
Right.
There we go.
And they might get.
Any other ideas?
Of course,
Some ideas and where would they go on that tree?
Coffee mug, magnet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, coffee mugs.
Okay.
Hey, Bridget, what did you say? Magnets, okay?
I don't know, coffee mugs might be closer to the mid-level, wouldn't it? What are they? We gotta put a pricing structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, coffee mugs are gonna run you about $8 or $9 for a
Right,
coffee
that's
mug,
what I
so
said.
that might be more mid-level stuff. There you go.
That's why I said we gotta have a pricing structure.
T-shirts.
Right?
He said
Yeah.
t-shirts.
T-shirts.
There you go.
Mid-level?
That's probably mid.
Mid-level.
And so,
Mid-level.
you see how this works? Now guess what? All of you have the access to create those things. This is not something that Empowerment Church is gonna do. I'm gonna do all the work. Well, Laura's gonna create this. And no, she's not. No, she's not. Let me get that straight like that. Can I create all of this? Yes, I can. I'm not.
Yes, you are.
My God has given you the power to create. And so I just wanted to do this so you guys see how that works. And this is just what it starts with me.
That's what I mean, we get commission, come on.
But I just wanted you guys to see how this works.
Yeah, she
This
does
is
it.
with the It Starts With Me book. But we all have our own things, our own inventory that we can create access levels to. You know, I have the SWAT boot camp. You know, the one-on-one is my high level stuff. I mean, I'm not doing that with everybody, and it comes at a 3-digit price point. But then I have some free stuff that I do, things I post on Facebook, my Facebook groups, my emails, and I have stuff in between there. But I have so many other things that I need to go through and say, okay, I can do this. And so you guys can take every gift that you have, every talent that you have, everything that you have been equipped to do, everything that has been placed inside of you, and say, God, give me the wisdom. God says, if any man lacks wisdom, let him do what?
Ask.
Come, ask.
Yes.
And he gives what? Liberally and without reproach.
That's right. That's
All we
right.
need to do is ask for wisdom. You don't have to have the struggle mentality, the struggle life. And I know that everything doesn't go as planned.
Ooh, Lord.
But God says that He has given you the power to create the wealth that you need. You got a mountain of debt. David faced a big giant like Goliath. He used his slingshot. What do you have inside to deal with that giant? What do you have inside? Oh, I only got this and this. Put it together like the widows did. And you watch God give you ideas. There is no reason that if we are created in His image and He is a creator and we have been given the power to create, we have been given creative power. There is no reason why we can't sit and innovate and create. There's no reason why we can't, Lady Angela.
I helped Bayberry Apartments create a program for their residents. It's called Bayberry Bucks, where the residents, if they attend different trainings or whatever on the premises, they get a buck, like $10, $20, and then they have things in the office that they can redeem those bucks for. And I met with them on Tuesday, and that program is implemented. So now, what do I do from there? Because if it's in
Okay.
place, they're doing it. They have a GED program that has started, and if you, come to the GED class, you get a Bayberry bug. So I met with them last week to say, can I add on to this? Because I wanna do a, once they complete their GED, I have asked that they come straight into a workshop of residue removal. You know, you started doing something in your life because you have a desire to get your GED, but what else needs to be removed from your life, that residue that I've learned about, and I do believe that it's a place for it in the earth for God to use me. So I'm sort of lost. I don't know how to move forward, because I do know it's working. Their GED classes have started, and they do each time they come to class, they get a $20 Bayberry buck. Well, I would like to market that to other, low-income housing places that are struggling with getting their, residents self-sufficient, because that was the whole conversation that I had with the apartment manager complex months and months ago. She was struggling with how to get her residents involved in moving them forward in self-sufficiency. And then I pitched the baby everything, and she had to run it by her corporate office and all this stuff, but she called me about a week ago and said, hey, they give it a go, so it's in place.
Okay.
So I need to put that in something, and I don't know what to do from there.
Well, right off the top of my head, like I said, you know, marketplace, I would say, well, it's gonna cost you $60 an hour for me to give you that answer, but I'm in the ministry, so I'm gonna tell you something off the top of my head, is that, you know, one of the things you need to do is think with your vision. God says, write the vision, make it plain, so that those who are running with it can read it. And so you need to think overall, what is your ultimate goal for this ministry that you have? And you mentioned workshops. And so are the workshops gonna be free or paid?
Well, in this setting, for right now, it will be free, but I do need to be able to open it up so that someone else can see it and say, hey, you know, I was at this workshop that this lady did, and we need to get her. Well, if someone else wants to reach out, I can't continue to do it for free. Because it takes time, it takes, you know, I've done a lot of research, I've got work, I've got handouts, and, you know, so I can't continue to do it for free.
And so what you need to do within the IW workshop, you know, if you are going to do, you know, paid workshops, where does that go into those levels? Is it gonna be something, you know, $20 for a workshop? Is it gonna be $50 for a workshop? Or whatever, and you have to kind of look to see where that goes. Every workshop needs what? A workbook.
That's it.
Okay, you need to create a workbook that's not gonna come for free. Where does that workbook fit? And so what you need to do is take that one idea and you can sit, you know, pray, light a candle, get a journal. God, give me some ideas. He's giving you the source that's in you already, and now you just need innovative ideas. You need to tap into that creative spirit in you. God said, I've given you the power to create. And so this is not something that's gonna happen in, you know, 5 or 10 minutes, but this is at the top of my head in 2 or 3 minutes, workshop, workbooks, if you know, pens, pencils, cups, if you want speaking engagements, if you want to create a program to sell to other entities to give them the right to use your program. So you see what I'm talking about? That's high level stuff. When you start selling you the right to access what's inside of you, that comes with a higher price tag. And I'm quite sure if you got a group of us together and we sit down over some coffee or whatever, we come away with 2 or 3 pages of stuff that you could potentially do. And each of us have that power inside of us. When we look at our inventory, the things that we have that God has given us to do, you have the power to create those levels of access, to create that wealth inside of you. This is your ministry. Everything inside of you is ministry. And you have to figure out a way to take what's inside of you, the ministry inside of you, no matter what it is. And how do you create provision? It's part of your purpose. And we've been taught that our purpose is our provision.
Hey,
Yes, ma'am.
So if I decided, when I decided, in my mind, I'm thinking, because I know that low-income housing is clustered under Chattanooga Housing Authority, so that would be a tactic, a strategy that I would use. I need to go before them and say, look, I have this product that, you know, it already works, it's working over here. So you all, they really struggle. I used to work for housing, so I know they struggle with their residents getting involved in anything that helps them become self-sufficient, unless something is involved for them, less than they benefit from it. I already know over here in Bayberry Bucks that it works, because you get a $20 buck and you get to go to the Bayberry store and you get to purchase a Swiffer or whatever you have. But you also have to benefit from working on your GED, which leads to XYZ to XYZ. So I guess that's
Another avenue for you too, with that, Angela, we're gonna have to move on, is look at the government budgeting for outcomes. They already have some outcomes that they want, and does anything that you do fit into those outcomes where the government might give you the money to do it?
I know how to do the budget.
Have mercy, have mercy.
Also, Ambassador Lord, the key word is,
I'm sorry.
also the key word is, God has given you the power to get wealth. But because of the religion that we've come out of, we keep hearing, God got it, God gonna do it. And so the key is he keep telling you, I've given you the power, and we just keep saying, well, God gonna do it, he gonna bless us with it, and we keep putting it on God gonna do it, and he keeps saying, no, I've given you the power to create your own wealth, and we wonder why we ain't got it, because we keep waiting on him. I'm waiting on the Lord.
Exactly, and so we're at the point now where we don't really need, God has already given us everything. We don't say, God, give me more, give me more. God, give me wisdom. Give me the wisdom to create, the wisdom not only to create, but to innovate, which is to take what's already there and do something new with it. And don't worry about if somebody else is already doing that. Why does that scare us so much that somebody else is already doing it? You got McDonald's and Burger King right across from each other. They don't care.
No, they don't.
As a
No, they
matter of
don't.
fact, Burger King, I don't know if you see what Burger King is doing. They have this thing with you can get a Whopper for a penny. The key is they have an app and a coupon. You have to be in a McDonald's to open the app, or near a McDonald's to open the app to get your 1 cent coupon. You have an hour to get it. So Burger King said, I got burgers, you got burgers. So I need to out-burger your burger. And so that's innovative.
Yes, it is.
So if it doesn't scare Burger King and McDonald's, if you look on Amazon, well, you know, we can all create cards. Why not? I've created the cards. You sell them to who you want to sell them to. If you look on Amazon, you got 10 people selling the same thing.
Look at you, right?
We have different circles. So I don't care if you have a website and you want to sell these cards on your website, go for it. I can't sell to your people, you can't sell to mine. It doesn't matter. We're not competitors. We're colleagues.
Hey,
we're
yes, we are.
co-laborers.
Yes, we are.
I'm not scared of you. You don't be scared of me. I'm not scared of what this person's doing over here because I can't do it like they do it. They can't do it like me.
No, they can't. No, they
We have to
can't.
get out of this. Well, I'm not going to do somebody that's already doing it. Just do it differently.
Have mercy.
We wouldn't have cell phones if the person who created the cell phone said, well, it's already a phone. We still be talking with the wire in the bathroom. We have to be innovators.
Yes, sir.
God has created us to be innovators, creators.
That's
He's
right.
given us the power to do that, and you have to walk in that, and don't be ashamed of it.
That's right.
Quit saying that, oh, it's just ministry and I have to always do everything for free. No, you don't.
You don't. You
That
don't.
it's okay to use what God has given you to bring in provision.
Have mercy.
Understand that.
Yes. Totally understand.
So, Isaiah 60 is our time to shine.
Yes, it
This is one of our scriptures for 2019, Isaiah 60.
is. Yes.
And if you read Isaiah, it says, you know, rise and shine, for your light has come. And it just talks about how the nation was in darkness, but how the glory of the Lord has risen upon them. And it says all nations will come to your light.
That's right.
If you continue to read the rest of that chapter and see why are nations coming to their light, it talks about when the abundance of the sea is turned to you. So it talks about the camels and the rams and how nations are bringing gold and frankincense. And people are looking at the children of Israel saying, wow, look what God has done. This is and the word glory. You know, sometimes, oh, it's glory, it's glory. Another word in this particular scripture, glory is prosperity, abundance. This is what God is talking about, that I'm going to cause you to be so blessed. This is why the nations are going to come and look at you. Read that entire passage in context and understand that this is God's desire for us. He does not desire us to struggle. He desired us to be creative. This is his desire for us. So it's our time to shine in 2019. We have our passion shine. That's the stuff that flows freely. I'm passionate about this is what I do. It flows freely. You know, I just want to give it to you. We have our profitable shine. This is the earned increase, things that we work at, things we create, things that we have to go out and physically do. That's our profitable shine, things that's going to bring us increase. And then we have our perpetual shine. I call that creative residuals. These are things that, once again, we created once the book. We created it, and now it's a part of our perpetual shine that is on Amazon making its own little money once we start sending people there. We need to begin to think, what can I create where I can create it once and then have it bring money in? It could be things like buying property, creating products that are for sale. This is, you know, what in the business term is called passive income. But I like the word perpetual shine. It constantly renews itself. I've created it in my profitable phase, and now I want it to begin to create wealth for me. I want it to begin to return to me. This is how we are going to begin to shine in 2019. If you just pick one thing to work on, if you just do one, we look you do more than one, but if you just do one thing, take it through this system, this power to create. God, you give me the power to create, the power to innovate. Help me to do this. I'm not asking you to give me anything else. I'm asking you to help me use what you've already given me so that I can shine. I can cause your glory to shine on me, that people will look at me and how I'm applying these kingdom principles and say, man, I need to learn that stuff.
Yes.
Can you teach me? And don't say, well, you need to come to the Empowerment Church at 10:30. No, you teach it right then and there where you're at.
That's right.
It's in you. This is how we shine in 2019. So this is what recap, taking inventory. So certifications, skills, life experiences, passions. Now take inventory, categorize them, develop a kingdom integration plan for just one thing. Just one thing. And then implement the plan. So Angela, 6 months from now, we don't need you to be saying, well, I just don't know what to do. We're going to all look at you like, really? You need to go and listen to the YouTube video, because I'm not going to say this again. We love you, but it's time to move on. So begin to take your inventory.
That's right.
What's your one thing? What's the one thing you're going to work on? And then once you're satisfied that one thing is rolling, pick another one if you want to. But if you just did just one thing for 2019, you'll be good. So we agree that we're kings.
Yes, yes,
With the power
yes.
to create wealth. We have the resources in us. We are full of ideals. And we are ready to shine. Amen? So Father, we thank you. We give you glory. We give you honor. We thank you for the wisdom that you give us, the wisdom that we have access to. We thank you that you have given us that power to create not wealth just for our own benefit, but so we can walk in our purpose and be a blessing to others. This is not about the prosperity gospel. It's not about name it and claim it. But this is the productivity gospel, Father. putting our hands to the plow and doing what it takes to get those things done so that we can shine for you, not for our own benefit, not for our own glory, but that your glory will shine on us and others will look at our light and see you and want to know what can they do? How can they have this same glory? And this is when we can share the gospel of the kingdom. We can tell them all the things that is in your word. But Father, we have to shine first. So we thank you for this plan to shine in Jesus' name. Amen.